Well, hi, hello, and how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Front Porch Brunch, our weekend thing where we get together and talk about the news, we give our views, and we try to make sense out of this crazy thing we call life. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am sometimes known as the fine fella in the fedora. On occasion, I'm called the chap in the cap. On occasion, the kid in the lid. I go by many different names. Sometimes I'm even referred to as the common man with common sense. But in this moment, at this time on planet Earth, I am your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So please, as always, do the host some favors. Number one, share the link right now. Send it out on Twitter, on Gettr, on Truth Social, on Facebook, on wherever you happen to be, folks. Tell them to come on in. Let's get a big old crowd of people in here this morning. Have a whole bunch of fun. Talk to each other, fellowship, that sort of thing, and otherwise have a good time doing it. While you're at it, hit the like button. Leave a comment in chat. Let's see if we can push this thing out there and make it known far and wide that we are here talking about the things that, interest us. Also, share the link with your friends. And finally, if you're not subscribed to my channel and you're like, wow, these guys have a whole lot of fun on this crazy live stream he does, well, then why don't you become a part of Fedora Nation? Go ahead and subscribe on YouTube and on Rumble. We'd love to have you as part of the fastest growing little community in the whole of the internet, fastest by sloth standards, and we'll have you around. We'll all have a good time doing it. All right, let's see who's in the house this morning. Let us see. Let's start on the YouTube side of things. Z Highness is in the house. You lovely looking thing. You mwah! Kisses to you, my dear. Gypsy's in the house. Happy brunch day. Get your orders in early. That's right. Daggone it. Get your orders in early because your chef and your host are hardworking people, and they happen to be the same person. Mwah! To Gypsy. Adam's in the house. One of our favorite crazy Canadians. I'll have a poppy seed bagel with cream cheese, Gypsy, please, and thank you. Well, I tell you what. Now, see, that's the kind of thing you get when you come to the Electronic Front Porch. We have cuisine to satisfy all kinds of taste. A fist bump to you, Adam. Let's see. Who else is here? Tiny Tesla's in the house. Mwah! Good morning, my dear. Rhonda Santos is in the house. I am making some cod with fried rice on the side for my brunch day. Ooh, that sounds tasty. Nice. Very nice indeed. Let's see. Who else is here? Lana's in the house. Coffee, silver dollar pancakes, and bacon. Ooh, that do sound good. And mwah, to you, my love. Let's see here. What else have we got? Who else is in the house and I haven't seen? I think it takes care of the YouTube side. All right. Oh, my Lord. The wingnuts are already assembled over on Rumble. WWG1. He been dropping memes like a madman. Let's see. TBA says, anyone here? Are we having a show today? Brian's washing his hair. I beg your pardon, sir. I am not washing my hair. How dare you? I'll do that after the show. Thank you very much. What do you mean it won't take long? Wow. Man. Jeez. Gee whiz. Y'all are just like getting nasty already. Dang. What's up with that? Well, let's see who else is here. Zippy's in the house. Mo Bwains. Well, Mo Bwains is right. Yep. All right. Mr. Scott Awesome is in the house. Hello, Mr. Scott Awesome. And fist bumps to all of you dudes. Oh, goodness me. Yeah, it looks like WWG1 is on a rant. Well, I don't know about ranting, but he's definitely dropping the memes, let me tell you now. Now, TBA, I saw that comment about the title, and I'm glad you asked the question. Hold that thought, and I will explain it to you when we get done with the merry memes. I've got a reason for saying that, okay? Oh, Lord, now they're speaking to each other in code over there. Uh, Wingnut leader. This is Wingnut 3. Come in, Wingnut leader. It's like, oh my God. Y'all just, when I gave you guys the title of the Wingnuts, little did I realize that it would take on such a life of its own. I had no idea. I really didn't. Dear Lord. Oh my God. Anyway, glad to have all you guys. Glad to have all you guys here on a Saturday morning. As always, it's fun. It's fun to get together. And, like I said, last weekend was the beginning of college football season, and there will be games played. I haven't really looked at the schedule to see if there's any marquee matchups this weekend. I'll have to consult with the lady on that question here in a little while. The lady is in town, and she keeps me apprised of all things college and professional football. And professional football comes back in earnest this weekend. We've had a couple of games already. Needless to say, the Dallas Cowboys do not ever disappoint. They are the only team in the NFL that has the most profound and proficient ability to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, losing 24-20 on Thursday night. I didn't keep up with that game down in Brazil that the Chiefs were playing. Anybody out there in the crowd got a score on the Chiefs game? From the Chiefs lost 27-20, the lady says. Okay. All right. I thank you for that update. Appreciate it. The lady has spoken and given me a thumbs up, no less. All right. Well, now, Rhonda, I can understand why being a Bucs fan will keep you humble. I can appreciate that perspective. As a Bengals fan, I feel much the same way. Just to let you know. Anyway, but yeah, you've got NFL football seasons kicking off in earnest this weekend. College is going into its second weekend, so yeah, it's going to be a good time. WWG1 says, is the lady a redhead? If so, you are in big trouble. No, she is not a redhead. I can report to you that. Let's see. TBA says, if the lady a redhead, bets for and against, I've got 2-1 odds that she is. Brother, I got bad news for you. You're going to lose that bet. But, what can I tell you? All right. Man, it is. Wait a minute. I forgot about being a Browns fan. I forgot about that, Robert. And good morning to you, sir. A fist bump in your general direction. Yeah, Atlanta, I agree with you. I'm like you. I want to like the Bengals, but yeah, they'll just break your heart. And the sad part about the Bengals, excuse me, folks, for 1 minute before we get to the news of the day. I just got to comment on this, The saddest part about the Bengals, if you stop and think about it for 1 minute, okay? The Bengals have one of the most premier quarterbacks in the whole of the National Football League. Around him, they have two of the best wide receivers in the game, okay? These guys can score points like lighting up a pinball machine, okay? The defense is not bad, okay? They're not bad. I mean, it could be better, okay? I mean, they're definitely not the 86 Bears, but I mean, they're not bad, okay? But the one constant thing that drives me nuts about the Bengals is they do nothing to enhance their offensive line and protect their quarterback. Joe Burrow has got to be one of the fastest quarterbacks I've ever seen. Not because of natural speed, just out of necessity. The poor boy is running for his life. Okay? He is constantly having to get flushed out of the pocket and running. Why? His offensive line can't protect him. So that's my gripe against the Bengals. Now, it's a new season. As with all things, hope springs eternal. But I'm not going to lie to you. I thoroughly expect Joe Burrow to get skinnier and skinnier as the season goes along. Why? Because if he's got any fat on him, he's running it off because his offensive line can't protect him. Anyway. Oh, Gypsy, being a Lions fan is heartbreaking. I get that. Honey, I absolutely get that. And you guys have got one of those teams You're right there. I mean, you are literally right there. Okay. I mean, right there. All right. You are that close to a Super Bowl. And just for it's one play, maybe two. And it just gets snatched away from you. It's like Charlie Brown coming up to kick the football and Lucy just pulls it back. That's what happens to the Lions, especially the past couple of years. Anyway, TBA says regarding the Lions, that inch is even too far away, Brian. Well, you may be right. You may be right. And Robert, as a devoted Browns fan, commenting on the Bengals are cheap. Now, Robert, you might be a Browns fan, but I ain't gonna lie. In certain respects, the Bengals are cheap. Okay? Don't get me wrong. They've laid out good money for their quarterback, their wide receivers. I think that kid Hendrickson, the defensive end, he got himself a big package, and that's great. How about we pay for an offensive line? Seriously? All right. You guys didn't come here to hear me talk about football, but I got to, we're on the subject, oh my word. Oh, Adam, what is that? What is that? Oh my Lord. Yeesh. Oh my goodness. Y'all are just anyway. Oh jeez. All right, let's get down to business. And thank you for being here this morning. We're going to try and have as much fun as we possibly can. Let us start, as is our wont, with the merry memes. Now, for those of you maybe visiting the electronic porch for the first time, the audience has come up with something that I think is very funny. Back in the day, there used to be political cartoons. There used to be the Merry Melodies. If you went to the movie theaters, you saw Warner Brothers put up these little 2 or 3 minute cartoon shorts. Well, we've come up with something here called the Merry Memes. Those memes that get you thinking about something, but they also get you laughing. Okay. And we have contributors like Adam, WWG1 over on Rumble, Salty Old Fart. If he were here, he's usually hanging out on Rumble. And they, send us a slew of memes. And this is often the case. And, we comment on them. We laugh about them. Some are funnier than others. Some just absolutely make you split your side laughing. And we will start this morning with some review of the memes. Now, law enforcement is always trying to enhance their ability to crack down on crime. Particularly, they're always trying to find a way to identify places where they think drugs are either being sold out of or, in some cases, being manufactured out of. Now, I say manufactured, speaking, of course, to the question of crystal meth, which in the South, and as bad as I hate to say it, in certain parts of Appalachia, it's a problem. Well, recently, law enforcement has figured out that there is a simple way to probably identify a place where meth is being manufactured. So if you see a bunch of cop cars surrounding an establishment quite like this, just understand it's quite possible in their minds they think they found a place that is a meth lab. I mean, and you have to give law enforcement credit for their powers of observation. I don't know why they would think that a place like this, I mean, with a brand spanking new Corvette, straddled up against, a residence looking quite like this. I don't know why they would think this would be a meth lab, but apparently in the estimation of law enforcement, this is something that they ought to keep an eye on. So you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Like I said, if you see a bunch of police cars surrounding this kind of establishment, just know that may be going on. They may be getting ready to make a bust on a meth lab. I'm just saying. All right. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes this morning? Oh, goodness me. Yes. Now, I'm sure that you guys have heard about the controversial group Queers for Palestine. I mean, they've been in the news ever since probably at least 2024. Okay. And a lot has been said about them one way or the other, yay, nay, etc., and so on. And fine, they're going to make a public stand like that. That's where they're going to go with it. Now, say what you want to about Queers for Palestine, but I think there is one thing that you can say: their activism. Well, yeah, I know it seems like the absolute complete oxymoron. I agree with you, dear. But say what you want to about Queers for Palestine. Their activism apparently is very inspiring. Au revoir. Bye. The lady is departing for a little while. Say what you want to about Queers for Palestine, but their activism is apparently quite inspiring. As a matter of fact, their example has caused a new group to come up. You've heard of Queers for Palestine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, be advised, there is such a thing now as chickens for KFC. And let me tell you, these chickens get around. I mean, I'm seeing them all over the place, especially in Kentucky. Oh my gosh, you cannot go somewhere and not see a flock of these chickens, out there holding up signs protesting, saying, free range today, or I mean, just all kinds of stuff out there, man. So, give some credit to the folks at Queer at Palestine. They have inspired chickens for KFC. And you know what? To both groups, I say this. I say a tip of the hat in your general direction. Oh, wait a minute. Robert's got an update here. Hang on a minute. Apparently, well, I stand corrected. I stand absolutely corrected. Robert's got, we got more news breaking about this. Robert says that there's another splinter group that Queers for Palestine has created. Apparently, we've got a new group called Pigs for Pork Chops. And then you've got Lana's reporting that she's seeing cows for burgers, and Adam is seeing virgins for illegal. Oh my, Adam! What, Adam? What in the world? Oh my goodness, you're awful. You can't take this audience anywhere, folks. I tell you what, they're just terrible like that. Terrible. Oh my gosh. But yes, a hat tip to the folks at Queers for Palestine for all these splinter groups that they have helped create. Goodness me. Ah, yes. Now, we mentioned the other day that that the Trump administration, particularly the Justice Department, was considering an idea of banning the sale of firearms to trans individuals. And they're doing this in light of the recent school shootings. Now, I think, almost 6 or 7 in a row, where a school shooting has been perpetrated by a self-identified trans person. Now, a lot of times the question gets asked, does Trump do something knowing that he's playing some form of 3D chess? I mean, is he doing something and he knows exactly the reaction he's going to get? Well, folks, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case here, but I will say this. I did see recently where Donald Trump was out in public and asked about this, and he gave a very interesting response to the question of, do you do things deliberately knowing the reaction you'll get? And his response was very simple. Now sit back and enjoy watching libs defending gun control. I hadn't thought about that, or defending guns. I had not thought about that, but don't be shocked at all to see because in one sense, in one sense, now political liberals have a problem. For years. Now, I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, I know this is a meme and it's meant to be a joke, but if you stop and think about it for a second, lefties now have a problem, and it's a pretty big one, in that For years, they have wanted gun control, gun control, gun control, gun control. And now, and now, when the Trump administration talks about banning the sale of firearms to trans people, now if you're a lefty, what do? Under normal circumstances, you say, hell yes, ban the sale of guns. Whoa, no, but not to those people. They've got a real serious problem on their hands. WWG1 says, going back to the Queers for Palestine inspirations, says, so the chickens have come home to roost at KFC, eh? Well, TBA says he's reading the Rumble chat and getting distracted. Keep the pressure up. No, sir. I will freely admit that on occasion I do get distracted, but I don't know that I'm that distracted. I mean, seriously, sir. Really? Well, now, I can't disagree with you on this, Z Highness. I really can't. Now, hang on. Hey, I called it last week that they do this. Now they're meme sweating over which red button to push, ban gun sales or protect guns. You're right. I do remember you mentioning this, Lana. And I tell you what. Like I said, this presents a real problem for the political left in this country. I mean, ban guns. We got to get the guns. We got to go get the guns. We got to stop people from having guns. And we're going to ban guns from trans people. I know. What are you going to do? I don't know. Very interesting times in which we live, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting times indeed. Every so often, we need not just the old attaboy, or the pat on the back. Sometimes we just need a good old-fashioned kick in the butt. And you got to figure, but how do you sell a good, swift kick in the butt? Well, some people, believe it or not, have figured out a way to do it. Hard to believe, but for $1, you too can be the proud owner of a butt kicking. I don't know how well this is going to work, but it's at least one idea about how to do it. Zippy over on Rumble with a Rumble rant this morning, and thank you for your generosity this week. You've been amazing, dude. We need no green dildos here. Throw me. I shall be the great flying pussycat. Oh, for heaven's sake. Zippy, we need you all 4 feet on the ground, my friend. I mean, look, you are interesting enough when your paws are planted firmly upon the firmament. But if you go flying through the air, spreading all that danger that you bring, I don't know if the world could take all that, man. So, I mean, let's keep you on the ground. We'll keep throwing the dildos, but as far as flying pussycats, no, sir. No, we need you safe and on the ground, my friend. Safe and on the ground. Good morning, sir. Kit Cabello from Hard Lens Media. Glad to have you in the house. Give this man a follow. Follow him on Twitter. Subscribe to his channel on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel on Rumble, on Kick, everywhere you can find him. He is, man, we so got to talk Chicago sometime soon. Let me know when you want to do it, either my channel or yours. And I'm not just saying this. I'm serious. Man, you guys have had some really breaking developments. And, oh, gosh, like I said, your channel or mine, you let me know when you want to get together. Because, man, we got to talk about your hometown. Bless your heart. Y'all got some stuff going on up there in the Windy City. Goodness me. Zippy says, I am never on the ground, sir. I am hanging off a ceiling fan. All the more reason to get you on the ground. Indeed. All right. What else have we got going on in the way of the merry memes? Oh. Did you guys hear about Bill Gates having dinner at the White House the other night with Donald Trump. We're going to talk about this here in a minute, but apparently before he arrived at the dinner at the White House, there were other Bill Gates sightings around town. And matter of fact, we have photographic proof. Never let it be said that the electronic front porch does not bring the receipts. Okay, we have pictures of Bill Gates, waltzing around in D.C. Before he went to this dinner with Donald Trump. Now, on the other hand, I don't know that I'd call what he was doing in this picture waltzing, but you know what? If I'm going to be challenged on this, which no doubt I am, okay? No doubt I am. Hey, brother, always glad to have you here. You are welcome on anytime you want. All right, but, if I'm going to be challenged on the accusation that I've got photographic proof that Bill Gates was seen in Washington, D.C. prior to this dinner, I'm going to bring the receipts. And that said, I got proof, and here it is. Bill Gates was out at Lafayette Park, and he was spotted sitting down, drinking a cup of poop water, and he had this sign on a table in front of him. Yeah, so for all you haters out there, all you haters of the porch, all y'all saying, "Hey, you just make stuff up." Hey, make that up, okay? Make that up. Don't you sit there and accuse me of saying something that's not true. I got the receipts. That is Bill Gates at Lafayette Park before that dinner with Donald Trump. Like I say, my integrity as a live streamer is on the line here, and I'm not going to be slandered. There you go. There you go. Oh, and speaking of that dinner between Gates and Donald Trump, we do have some audio highlights of that. Matter of fact, hang on, folks. Let me get this pulled up. Like I say, we've got some audio highlights, and we're going to talk about the dinner, okay? And the dinner is kind of going to lead into a broader discussion of something that I put in the title. Of my live stream this morning, Trump's in trouble, and I'll explain what I'm getting at here in a minute. But we've got some audio of Bill Gates making comments at this dinner. And folks, I don't know what to make of all this, but you know what? You listen to this, you tell me what you think.
Well, I just wanted to apologize for every single fucking version of Windows that sucked, which is basically all of them. Also, sorry for creating viruses just so I could profit from selling you the antivirus software. And on that note, sorry for spreading real viruses by profiting from vaccines and shit. Also, sorry for sterilizing so many of you. There's just too many of us, and some of you are not nice. That's why I'm trying to block out the sun. Anyway, I just came here to ask for a pardon from all the Epstein shit. Thank you.
Well, look, if that's why Bill Gates came to the White House the other night, then I got bad news for you, sir. Not just no, heck no, you ain't gonna get a pardon. Forget you. No way, Jose. So there you go. There you go. I see the haters are very upset with Melania saying she gave disrespect to Gates. F that. God, now that I hadn't necessarily seen yet, but there's a lot of things I've seen, and that kind of leads me into our first topic of the morning. And before I do that, I want to thank WWG1, Adam, as always, and everybody who contributes to the Merry Memes. You guys make the show a heck of a lot of fun. And, without you, this live stream would not be what it is. So God bless all of you. All right. Very early on over there on Rumble, among the Wingnuts, I would argue the co-captain of the Wingnut division, TBA, asked the question, And he says, how can Brian come up with a title of Trump's in Trouble? Well, I'm glad you asked me that question, TBA. And I want to get into this. There's all kinds of ways to measure how much trouble someone is in. Some people will say, they'll make a counter argument to me. If I say Trump's in trouble, they'll make a counter argument and say, well, how can you really say that? I mean, look at his poll numbers. I mean, Rasmussen last week for the week had him at a solid 49%, which, for an American president is pretty good. Can't complain about that too much. And the pollsters will have him anywhere between, 44, 47, 43, whatever. I mean, there's a range of, mid 40s polls done by mid pollsters who frankly couldn't find their butt with a flashlight. Okay, maybe that wasn't the best analogy to use, but you get my point, okay? It's not so much polling that I'm talking about as to why I think Trump is in trouble. What I'm getting at is there is something unsettlingly off about things that are going on at the White House. I mean, for example, this dinner the other night. For those of you who maybe hadn't heard about it yet, there was a dinner held at the White House discussing, artificial intelligence, its future here in the United States and around the world, and what we as America can do to prepare to take part in that future. And it brought together all kinds of folks. But there were two individuals at this dinner that when MAGA and Republicans in general, but MAGA in particular, when they saw that these two individuals were sitting at the dinner table, and not just sitting at the dinner table, they were sitting right beside of President Trump and his lovely and gracious wife, Melania, everybody in the MAGA movement went, what the actual F is going on here? You let these two jokers in the room and gave them a seat at the table and gave them the most prominent seats at the table? What is the matter with you guys at the White House? Okay. And what I'm talking about is Bill Gates is one of them and Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook is the other. WWG1 reminds me of that old proverb from, I think it's Sun Tzu, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Okay, I can understand the logic of that. And if it were just that, I wouldn't necessarily get upset about this. Okay? But let me walk you through what my thinking is. I mean, not WWG1, TBA over on Rumble asked the question, how can I come up with the title that Trump is in trouble? Well, hold that thought. I'm going to get to it. We're going to play some clips from this dinner. And the first one is Bill Gates, this time actually speaking, okay? And here are his comments to the president and the group assembled.
Well, I'm in the second phase of my career, giving away all the wonderful money that Satya's good work has helped multiply a lot. But I think the thing that ties my first career that I still spend some time on because AI is so phenomenal, and my second career is innovation, innovating in health in areas like vaccines or gene editing and
what? What? Did somebody shoot this guy full of sodium pentothal? Give him a shot of truth serum before he walked into this room? He's admitting this? Let us continue.
The president and I are talking about taking American innovation to the next level to cure and even eradicate some of these diseases. He mentioned polio, which is one that we're close. We don't need new science on that one. For some like HIV and sickle cell, we do need new science, but the U.S. Has the seeds that in the same way that Warp Speed took those seeds and put them together, I think something fantastic can be done. AI for our foundation is that we want a doctor for everyone in Africa through AI. We want farmers to have incredible advice and, kids to have a chance to learn. So the work being done by the people at this table is changing the world. It's, coming fast. So it's great. We all get together and talk about how the U.S. can lead in this key area and apply it even to the poorest outside the U.S. as well as to our great citizens. So thank you for incredible leadership, including getting this group together.
Okay, so that's Bill Gates. And much like everyone else, I am having a moment. But who was it over here? Was it WWG once said, I bet Melania took a 4-hour shower after this dinner having sat next to Bill Gates. WWG1, I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case either. Okay. TBA says, after all the terrible destruction Gates did in Africa, the only thing for him to do is remedy that by making people healthy again. I don't disagree with you. I don't. Yeah. Of all the people to have at this dinner, you've got Bill Gates. Oh, honey, turn loose your comments about Bill Gates. No, we ain't going to censor you here. I get it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. TBA says, I repeat, Gates isn't, quote, giving away all of his money. It's been seized through executive orders 13818 and probably 13848. I will. Same with Zuckerberg, you say. Well, okay. I will. We're going to. The comments and questions like this are why I have got the best audience in the whole of social media. Okay. There is a lot about this dinner to want to break down, but you've got one of the slimiest characters in recent history, sitting at the dinner table in a place of prominence beside the hosts. Okay. The only way I would let this guy in the room is to be a busboy, and even then I'd check his pockets before he leaves the White House that night. Oh my God. Anyway, so you got that going on. And not only have you got a character like Bill Gates, then you got Mark Zuckerberg of all people. And we've got a clip of him making some commentary to the president. And it's like, really? These people? These are the people you're having here? What the actual is going on? Anyway, and with that, here is Mark Zuckerberg with President Trump.
Well, thanks for hosting us. I mean, this is quite a group to get together. And, I think, all of the companies here are making huge investments in the country in order to build out data centers and infrastructure to power the next wave of innovation. So it's, we don't often get together as the CEOs of the different companies, but it's good to see everyone.
How much are you spending, would you say, over the next few years?
Oh, gosh. I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the U.S. Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's significant.
That's a lot. Thank you, Mark. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Well, thanks for.
Mr. President, due respect, sir, may I remind you of some things when it comes to Mark Zuckerberg? May I remind you that this is a man who freely admitted that it was the efforts of his company during the 2020 election that suppressed the Hunter Biden story, the Hunter Biden laptop story. I mean, Robert, I think they did misname this dinner. And you bring up the great point, tech censorship. May I remind you, President Trump, if you happen to be seeing this live stream, that it was Mark Zuckerberg. Here's his letter back in August of 2024. Go down to the last paragraph. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving the Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to our fact checkers and temporarily demoted the story while waiting for a reply. The man is sitting here admitting over a year ago, this guy's admitting that he had his company suppress the story on Facebook so people couldn't see it. To the point, Mr. President, to the point that you went out and on the basis of that letter, you went out and started, freely saying to anybody who would listen at the time on Truth Social, you're out there screaming about Zuckerberg. You made the statement, Zuckerberg admits the White House pushed to suppress the Hunter Biden admits the White, yeah, and much more. In other words, 2020 election was rigged. In that same letter I just referenced a moment ago, Zuckerberg freely admits the Biden White House was pushing in 2021 that certain things be suppressed on Facebook. But they freely admit that when the Hunter Biden laptop story broke in the fall of 2020, they suppressed it. And now you're sitting down and breaking bread with this guy? What in the world is going on over at the White House? Well, there may have been knives behind these people's backs, but Mark Zuckerberg could have stood up and said, "Screw you. You're not going to tell us what we will and will not put out on our social media platform. We'll let the truth have its way. If people are wrong in what they're posting, the internet's going to clean it up. If they're right in what they're posting, the internet is going to, reward them for it by boosting it without us having to do anything." But Trump's breaking bread with two of the most corrupt characters in the world, at least as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I can't speak for all of you guys, but I mean, knowing what these two have done, and people who know even better than I do, I know at the periphery what these guys have done. But people who follow this stuff way better than I do, are absolutely apoplectic. And give you a good example, I got a tweet here from Robbie Starbuck, quite an influential activist in his own right. It's infuriating to see Bill Gates of the White House in a position of honor. I want a future where we stop giving power to people like Gates. He's a globalist who hates America first and has a God complex. He deserves nothing but contempt. I cannot disagree with Robbie Starbuck one iota on any of that. Not one. Well, now, and Robert, that's a good point. Facebook was doing the same thing during the tail end of the Trump administration when COVID was yeah, you're right. I mean, I gotta call it. You're absolutely right, brother. But I mean, you're breaking bread with people who you should not even be sitting down with. What in the world is the matter with you? And if you think Robbie Starbuck's comments were something, oh, get ready, folks. I've got a string of Steve Bannon clips here. And you know what? You can say what you want to about Bannon. You can say he's got his own agenda. You can say he's vitriolic. You can say he's narrow-minded. You can say whatever. But I'm sorry. With his comments about this dinner, I don't disagree with a word of it. Okay? I don't disagree with a word of it. I'm going to play several of them here. And I do it just to emphasize, how bad this looks. Oh, wait a minute. People are saying Melania arranged this dinner. Oh, look. Now, see, And I'm not saying what you're reporting is wrong, but here's my question. Is that being put out to get the heat off of Donald Trump? Or is it being done to throw Melania under the bus? Or both? I don't know. TBA says prediction, both Gates and Zuckerberg will end up penniless and homeless by the time Trump gets done fleecing them of all their ill-gotten gains. Your lips to God's ears, brother. Mr. Scott Awesome says Trump is such a normie boomer in many ways. And WWG1 says, Gypsy, you're wrong about what you heard. I am the one who arranged the dinner. Well, so we get to blame you for this. Is that it? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. He's over in the Rumble chat. He's under the name WWG1. He says he arranged this dinner between Trump, Zuckerberg, and Bill Gates. You know what to do. Okay, so that the White House is saying that it was Melania that arranged the dinner. Ooh. I bet you there's some hard and fast conversations happening that happened Friday morning. Don't you know that's true? But anyway, I've got some Bannon comments here, and I want to play them because, I mean, they need to be heard. Here's the first one, and as usual, Bannon doesn't leave much bark on the tree. Here you go.
I don't trust that crowd around the table, around the president. The president, they're a nest of vipers. They do not support you. Nobody more viciously went after you than the big tech bros in your first term. They had no earthly idea you would come back. They hedged their bets. They're smart business guys. They hedged their bet in case you won. And then once you won, hey, they're all, man, they're down for it. They're MAGA. This is dangerous. Number one, it's just stupid politically because it's going to get us crushed. Those guys bring nothing to the table as far as votes. 80% of the country hate them. This is one of those 80-20.
And you know what? On the political side of it, I don't disagree with Bannon. I think he's absolutely right. Listen, we're about to go, and again, we're over a year away, so I get it. No one's really thinking about it right now. But may I respectfully point out to the wonderful political whiz kids working at the White House, you are a little over 14 months away from a midterm election that if Donald Trump loses control of the House, any hope you have for your agenda is toast. Okay? Now is not the time for you to be, playing patty fingers with people you shouldn't even be in the same room with. Now is the time to try to crush them. If for no other reason, to make sure you keep your political base motivated so that come November 2026, you get them out to vote. This is having this kind of dinner. I don't care who arranged it, okay? Having this kind of dinner with these people at the same table as Donald Trump sitting in places of prominence is absolutely politically stupid. What in the world's the matter with you guys? Have you lost your minds? Better question. Do you even have a political mind to begin with? But if you think that one was spicy from Bannon, I got a couple, three more for you here. This is just, folks. Like I said, the bark's coming off the tree when Bannon's laying it down. I got another one here, folks. Straight to it. Let's just roll it.
Zuckerberg, that guy should be in prison. He should be in a cell. Bill Gates, on a day that Bobby Kennedy gets, that Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, is ripping his face off in front of the world, you're going to have Bill Gates, Mr. Vaccine? What in the hell are we doing? Whoever set that dinner up should be perp walked out of the White House today. Somebody's got to get control of this deal. Okay? On the economic messaging, on all the messaging, President Trump's policies are hammering home maximalist urgency, seize the institutions, bang, 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 but he can't do everything.
Okay. I want to address something. I want to address something TBA said over on Rumble, and I'm not picking a fight with him. I mean, it's legitimate political discourse, and he's got a valid point. Okay, and it's this. Let me read his comments to you guys. 14 months away is light years from us right now. You have no idea what's going to happen over the next year. Bannon is talking to the normies, not to MAGA people who know what's really going on, in my opinion. All of those are fair points. Completely fair points. And you're right. You're right. I don't have an idea what's going to happen. I cannot, with complete, clarity and omniscience, look ahead and say in 14 months, the following will happen in the November elections. But I know this. There's all kinds of factors that make up the voting groups that are going to come out next November. Okay? And the Republicans have always had one big problem. If Donald Trump is not on the ballot, his base won't come out to vote. Okay? And I respectfully remind, and not necessarily this audience, okay? So I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to pick a fight with this audience, but let me respectfully remind the Republican intelligentsia out there of a very important point. You have power right now due to Donald Trump's voters coming out and voting for Donald Trump. You rode that wave that got you to where you are, okay? He ain't on the ballot. There's a good probability they're not going to come out to vote. And you guys are now in the position where you can't afford a low voter turnout election anymore. You've got to have votes to win. Now, you can say, well, of course you always got to have votes to win. That's not my point. You have to have a higher turnout election in order for you guys to win, because now the script is flipped. It used to be back in the old days, a low voter turnout election was to your benefit, particularly in off-year elections. Not now. Okay? This is not the case. You need Trump's voters to come out. And if they're not motivated to do so, you got a problem. Scott Pressler is up in Pennsylvania screaming to the top of his lungs to anybody who will listen that if things don't get turned around, those Pennsylvania judicial races up there, they're gone. The Democrats will wind up being retained on their state Supreme Court, and you're going to deal with 3 of these jokers for the next 10 years. Okay? TBA says, if things were normal, Brian, I would agree with you, but we are not in normal political times. Okay, granted, but there are some things that are consistent. I'm just saying, this is not a good idea what's going on here. This dinner, whoever planned it, okay, and they might have done it with the best of intentions, but it was not the politically smart thing to do. I got one more Bannon clip here, and I'll play it for you guys. And then we'll move on to some other pieces of evidence to support my general hypothesis that Trump is in trouble. Okay. There's questions about, who arranged this dinner. Was it Melania? Was it somebody else? Well, we may have an idea of who arranged this whole thing. Give me 1 second here and I'll pop this up. Folks, here you go.
It's the worst group of humans on earth. Half of them on the spectrum. And you have Mark Zuckerberg. And by the way, the people responsible for this is guy, Michael Kratsiosis. I don't even know why he's around the White House, this technology guy. He's a open door to these guys with on the day that Bobby Kennedy, you have the worst people in the pandemic in the information warfare, in the lies and information warfare and suppression. You have that crowd there on the day that Bobby Kennedy testifies. Have you lost your mind? See, they have no fundamental basic understanding of our movement. They just don't. They just come in after November 4th. Yes, they threw a little money at Trump in 2024. No doubt. They put some money up. But they're grifting. And David Sachs, I don't even know his role and his conflicts of interest. We're going to have Senator Banks on here in a while talking about it. These lobbyists, the law firms pushing this, it's got to stop.
again, and the point is perfectly valid. You got a case where Bobby Kennedy is getting absolutely just shots fired all over the place from all directions, and it wasn't just the Democrats. Okay, you had Republicans taking shots at him in maybe a little more subtle form. The Democrats don't have any sense of subtlety at all, not when they're desperate to get power back. Because there are a lot of good things that are happening. Some things make me go, but there's a lot of good things that are happening. But on a day when Bobby Kennedy's up there just getting shots fired everywhere, you'd bring these jokers to the White House? I mean, look, if you wanted to bring them to the White House, pick another day to do it. Not this day. Now, I keep making the statement Trump's in trouble. Trump is in trouble. Let me give you some more evidence of what I'm talking about. Okay. Got a clip here. The other day, the Epstein survivors, the women who were trafficked by Ghislaine Maxwell and preyed upon by Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. They hold a press conference out in front of Capitol Hill. Organized in part by Ro Khanna, Democrat from California, Thomas Massey, Republican from Kentucky, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican of Georgia. So the president is hosting Naraki, the president of Poland, at the White House. And as Trump is prone to do, he takes questions. So he gets asked about this press conference. He gets asked about the Epstein thing over and over and over again, okay? And his response is just, it's to me one more piece of evidence. Here, listen to this.
Mr. President, right now, there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massey, who was sponsoring a discharge petition to get the House to vote on the release of those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president.
Okay. Is Trump in one sense right? Yeah, it is a distraction. Focus on this and not the stuff we're doing. It's just the way he keeps going over. It's a hoax. I'm sorry. Go talk to those women and ask them how much of a hoax it is. And the irony that bugs me about the Epstein thing, every time this comes out, even the victims are saying, we never saw Donald Trump do anything untoward or inappropriate. We never saw him in situations where, he was potentially, we never saw any of that. Trump was just he was a gracious gentleman in the times that we saw him around Jeffrey Epstein. Everything that comes out about Trump as it relates to Epstein, no one can tie Donald Trump to any untoward, inappropriate, or even illegal behavior. And Trump keeps sitting there saying, it's a hoax, it's a Democrat hoax, it's bullshit, it's everything else. And I'm sitting here going, can you not find a better way to explain what you're thinking? I mean, yeah, in one sense, you're right, but the way you're handling all this is horrible. You have millions of people that make up the base of your support who want justice done upon these perpetrators who were around and involved in the same activities as Jeffrey Epstein. And it seems like almost nothing is happening. Nothing. And the way you're talking about it makes it even worse. I got another thing here. This whole argument about, should we send, federal troops into cities like Chicago and others? Robert Barnes has a pretty good take on this. And you're asking yourself, but why are you playing all these clips on all these different issues? Hold on to the thought, folks. I'm going to explain where I'm going here in just 1 second. Here's Robert Barnes on Alex Jones's show.
So how easy would it be to stage a false flag in any of these liberal democratic cities if Trump sends in the National Guard?
Well, I mean, Podesta says they will attack the migrants. We will create a race war. They don't say we're going to stage it, but the last piece is that.
That's exactly right. So that's our warning to them. Don't go in uninvited because it's a trap. It has far more risk than reward. Offer it to them. That's great. The American people want things that will reduce crime, but do not go in.
Well, I've been saying this, and so have you, even before Trump got reelected. And unfortunately, I get Trump's like, well, I have a duty. I'm going in. And he does constitutionally. I mean, explain that briefly. And we'll let you go. In the Constitution, when local authorities stand down, there's a responsibility, right?
Well, yeah, there's a duty and obligation on the commander-in-chief to protect the security and safety of the American people. And if there's complete chaos and things are broken down, that's what the Insurrection Act, that's what other provisions of the Constitution provide the power of the president to restore order. Absolutely. And I get his instinct.
And that's what Stuart Rhodes said. He's a lawyer, too. He said, even though it's a trap, we have a responsibility. We got to walk into it. Okay, Trump should address the nation and explain it.
Exactly. Be very careful. To set this up, make them invite you, offer it. Show the success of D.C., but he has more control in D.C. D.C., it's harder for them to stage a false flag because of the nature of D.C. Chicago, L.A., that's got false flag tattooed all over it.
One more clip, and then I will get to what I'm at. And I'll explain what I'm leading to here. We've got planes, F-35 fighters, being deployed down to Puerto Rico. Now, you might be sitting there asking yourself the question, what in the world are we doing deploying F-35 fighters to Puerto Rico, of all places? Well, I got a story about that. And this is from Reuters. Trump plays down possibility of regime change in Venezuela. U.S. deploys stealth fighter jets. Article by Steve Holland, Phil Stewart, and Trevor Honeycutt of Reuters News. We have the following. Dateline Washington. The United States is not talking about a regime change in Venezuela, President Trump said on Friday, as the United States ordered an additional 10 stealth fighter jets to a military buildup in the Caribbean. Quote, we're not talking about that, but we're talking about the fact that you had an election which was very strange, to put it mildly, Trump said, referring to the contested 2024 election the Venezuelan government says of President Nicolas Maduro. Trump has been asked by reporters about a claim Maduro has made this week that the United States was seeking a regime change through military threat. The government of the United States should abandon its plans of violent regime change in Venezuela and in all of Latin America and respect sovereignty, the right of peace to independence, Maduro said on state television. I respect Trump. None of the differences we've had can lead to a military conflict, Maduro said. Now, going a little further into this article, the Trump administration has ordered the deployment of 10 F-35 fighter jets to a Puerto Rico airfield to conduct operations against drug cartels, sources have told Reuters on Friday. The new deployment comes on top of an already bristling U.S. military presence in the Southern Caribbean as Trump carries out a campaign pledge to crack down on groups funneling drugs in the United States. And then, top it all off, then you've got this little piece of commentary coming from the Trumpster himself. And man, I'm telling you, Trump is in trouble. I just get this feeling more and more. And Trump's comment goes like this. He's asked about something at the White House. Listen to this.
Well, I would say they're going to be in trouble. We'll let them know about that. We heard that happen, but it wasn't really over, not like they described. But I would say, General, if they do that, you have a choice of doing anything you want. Okay. If they fly in a dangerous position, I would say that you can, you or your captains can make the decision as to what they want to do. All right.
Sir.
Okay. Now I'm going to get to what I'm actually talking about. Oh, and I could also reference the fact that Trump is teasing sending U.S. troops into Poland. For what purposes? I have no idea. Okay. Here's what I'm getting at. When I say that Trump is in trouble, I'm not necessarily referring to polling. I'm not necessarily referring to immediate physical danger. Okay. When I say Trump is in trouble, and I look at all these things going on, I'm getting the distinct impression one of two things is happening. Okay. And it could be one of the following. A, Trump is drunk on his own power. Trump thinks, I've got one term. I have survived assassination attempts. I've survived lawfare. I've survived everything else. I'm out the other side of it. I got nothing left to lose. And that attitude is making him reckless. And he's doing and saying things that absolutely are sitting there going, man, you are in trouble. You do some of this stuff and you are in serious, serious trouble. Okay. That's one possibility of what's happening here. The other possibility, and I think this may be more realistic, is Trump's got a bunch of people around him that are giving him some really, really, really bad advice, and he's listening to them. Now, in the end, anything Trump does, it's on him. Like you, like me, the decisions we make, the consequences thereof, they're ours to live with. Okay? At the level that Trump's operating at, it's not just decisions that affect him, it's decisions that affect millions of people for years to come. Okay? That said, the more I'm watching Trump, the more I'm getting the feeling the guy's in trouble. Have you ever listened to an orchestra play a piece of music? Okay. And everybody is doing everything they're supposed to do. And then all of a sudden, there's that one person that plays a sour note. And you're like, ooh. You know, and you get past that, and then they play another sour note. Ooh. You know, that's what I'm feeling like with Trump. It's like there's something just off here. You know, and let me get to some of your comments because this stuff is really good, and I don't want to ignore you guys. Let me go over to Rumble. Mr. Scott Awesome on Rumble says Trump is of a different generation. He just doesn't understand certain things. WWG1 says a thought. MAGA people will not leave Trump no matter what he does. He's not worried about that. He wants non-Trump supporters to smell the coffee. Well, okay, possible, but man, it's how he's going about doing it. It's just scaring me to death. TBA says, you mean wake up and smell the coffee. Start really seeing what's been done to them over the years by these demon lizard people. Okay, fair point. Mr. Scott Awesome again. That's not going to work. It's the independent voters and the voters who gave up on politics and don't vote anymore. Zippy says Trump ain't great, never was great, but things are foobarred. That Trump being a mess is kind of what we need. All right. Okay. And One last comment from Mr. Scott Awesome. He says, has been doing a pretty bad job. Those political balloons, like the 600,000 Chinese and a dozen other comments, have just pissed off independents, and I know a lot are just done with him. Epstein comments, Ukraine, Israel comments have pissed off these subgroups in the independents. His messaging has been horrible. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm talking about. Zippy says, Mr. Scott Awesome, the only thing Trump has ever done is swaggered his way through problems. Upside, it takes power away from the powers that be. Could be. Could be. Thank you for that Rumble rant, Zippy. Let me get over here to the folks over on YouTube and see what they're saying about it. Minmo, good morning, Minmo. Regardless of whether it was meant to undermine Trump, it's no secret that this place existed and the crimes were committed, period. Okay. Yeah, I just... TBA, when I say Trump is in trouble, that's what I'm getting at. I'm watching all these little things together, and in my mind, I'm coming to the conclusion either he's drunk on his own power and he's just not thinking about the political implication or the political consequence, or he's getting some really bad advice. That's what I mean by Trump is in trouble. Okay? Not necessarily polling danger, not necessarily physical danger, but a lot of political danger. And if he's not careful, he's either going to let his arrogance or the bad advice he accepts get him and the country into all kinds of trouble. So, yeah, pray for the man. Pray for the man. He definitely needs help. He definitely needs help. All right. Let us move on to a different compartment of the train, as it were, and talk about another story that broke late on Friday. But before we do, let me do a real quick commercial for myself. If you're here this morning and you've been listening to some really interesting conversation and commentary and seeing all these wonderful folks in chat and saying, what the heck is this thing and what the heck is going on here? Well, you have found your way to a live stream that I do on Saturday mornings called Front Porch Brunch. And my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. If you are here and you're enjoying what we're doing, why don't you do me some favors? Number one, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube and Rumble. And while you're at it, hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment in chat. Even if you don't like what I'm doing, look at it this way. You'll get a chance to say something about it. And you're not even a member of the channel yet. Hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment in chat, subscribe, share the link around with your friends, and hit that bell for notifications. We want to make sure you're always aware when new material is coming out. And we're glad to have you here this morning. We are enjoying being with you. Hope you're finding what we're talking about useful and fun. And with that, we will move on to a different topic. And this one is broke late Friday. Compliments of the Wall Street Journal. But I think we ought to talk about it in relation to some things we've been mentioning the past few live streams. I mentioned Thursday night when we got together that there has been, over the past 3 or 4 weeks, a very concerted effort to get rid of Bobby Kennedy. And when I say concerted effort, it's not just the Democrats that are out to get him out. Okay, they've got all kinds of reasons to dislike Bobby Kennedy. Here you have the son of a Democrat legend, Bobby Kennedy Sr. Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s uncle, Jack Kennedy, was a president. And here is a man, a Democrat, and a Democrat's Democrat working in a Republican administration. So believe me, the Democrats have all kinds of reasons to dislike Bobby Kennedy. Okay, because in their minds, he betrayed his own. But that's just one of the reasons why they don't like Bobby Kennedy. And if it were just the Democrats going after Bobby Kennedy, you might understand this. But this is also coming from Republicans. When I say there's a concerted effort, it's from both sides. And not even just Democrats and Republicans. You got people in the healthcare industry, the pharmaceutical industry. You got a slew of people that want Bobby Kennedy gone. Okay. And the hearing that you saw the other day in front of the Senate Finance Committee, while it was vitriolic, volatile, etc., that's just a taste of the knife fighting that's going on right now, trying to get rid of Bobby Kennedy. Okay, now I say all that to set up the following. You remember several months ago, and I want to say it's either April or May, that Bobby Kennedy, during a cabinet meeting, made the statement that the Department of Health and Human Services, and more likely the CDC, would be releasing a report in September discussing the cause of the increase in autism. Okay. And when I say increase in autism, I'm not talking about just a mild rise in the percentage numbers. I'm talking about it's dramatic. Absolutely dramatic what's going on here. Well, the Wall Street Journal has put out an article late Friday afternoon, and this is being discussed in the media. I got a story here from Axios talking about it. And you want to know why the political and the medical establishment wants to get rid of Bobby Kennedy? Folks, it's stuff like this, and it's going to start explaining it. From Axios.com, we have the following headline: RFK Jr. to draw a link between Tylenol and autism, according to a report. Article by Adriel Bettelheim, we have the following. Dateline, Washington, D.C. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s forthcoming report on the causes of autism will link the use of Tylenol during pregnancy to the neurodevelopmental disorder and suggest that a form of folate can treat the condition, according to a published report. Kennedy, who has promoted debunked theories about the disorder, said some of the report's conclusions could be revealed this month. The mention of a Tylenol connection, first reported by the Wall Street Journal, would revive a medical controversy over the use of Tylenol's active ingredient acetaminophen during pregnancy. Acetaminophen is a common pain reliever and fever reducer that's found in a variety of medicines and is often taken during pregnancy instead of anti-inflammatory drugs. Some studies have found that prenatal exposure to the pain medication increased the risk of both autism spectrum disorder and ADHD, but a large study of data of more than 2 million children in Sweden concluded in 2024 there was no connection. Instead of pointing the study from Sweden pointed instead to possible genetic factors. An American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists earlier concluded there's no evidence of a relationship between prudent use of acetaminophen and fetal developmental issues. Kennedy's report is also expected to pinpoint a form of folate known as folinic acid or lusoverin as a way to decrease the symptoms of autism, the Wall Street Journal reported. Quote, we're using gold standard science to get to the bottom of America's unprecedented rise in autism rates. Until we release the final report, any claims about its contents are nothing more than speculation, the HHS spokesperson said. All right, let's talk about this for a minute. Okay. I have a question for politicians in Washington, D.C., the medical establishment, the pharmaceutical industry in general, etc., and so on. Let us assume for a moment that what is being reported by the Wall Street Journal is, in fact, what Bobby Kennedy's CDC and HHS are going to conclude. Okay. A study done by the Centers for Disease Control supervised by the Department of Health and Human Services, a governmental study. Okay. We're not talking private industry. We're not talking anybody else. We're talking the federal government. Okay. Let's assume for just a moment that that is what this study will conclude. Okay. And let's just assume, for the sake of argument, and I don't think this is too far of a stretch, let's just assume that the pharmaceutical industry and folks on the political left and others conclude that Bobby Kennedy is dead wrong. Here's my question to all you guys on the left and the pharmaceutical industry and the politicians in Washington. What is wrong with having this discussion? The current medical establishment, the current bureaucratic structure that is responsible for making sure that we as Americans stay healthy has been in place now for 20, 30, 40 years. Little to no change in terms of outlook, thought, etc. And yet we keep getting less healthy all the time. And now you have someone in Bobby Kennedy Jr. who's come along and wants to make a statement based on studies that our government's scientists and scientific community have done. Okay. Now, look, you can disagree with Bobby Kennedy. You can disagree with this report when it comes out, whatever is in it. That's perfectly fine. My question is, what's wrong with at least having the debate? Why is it that if you challenged established thinking, you've got to be silenced? We got to shut Bobby Kennedy up. We got to shut him down. This is crazy. Blah, 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 blah. No. There's no connection between acetaminophen and prenatal. No. It's not true. Why can we not at least have the discussion? If Bobby Kennedy is wrong, then prove him wrong. Don't try to shut him down. But you guys don't even want to talk about it. There is something seriously wrong here. Okay, you have autism rates that are going through the roof, and no one can explain why. Here you've got Bobby Kennedy putting forth a theory. At least he's got an idea. You disagree with the idea if you want to, but you don't even want to talk about the idea. Oh, he's a vaccine skeptic. He's a kook. He's a weirdo. You can't talk right. I don't understand a thing he says. Yada, yada, yada. I think TBA is absolutely right. Bobby Kennedy is right over the target, about to expose the medical industry and big pharma as the poisoners that they are. Yeah, when you're over the target, that's when you get the most flack. And good morning to Ruben Christopher Haynes. Fist bump to you, my friend. To talk about this is, quote, dangerous. What about the children? It's about losing control of the narrative. Once people start critical thinking, the sick game they're playing is over. Amen to that, sir. Amen to every word of that. I mean, Ruben's right. They don't want this talked about lest they lose control of the narrative. They do not want... Look, let's just, assume that Bobby Kennedy is completely and absolutely wrong. Okay? Assume he's wrong. Then go. Here's your chance. You want to get rid of Bobby Kennedy, buddy, he just teed it up for you. He's giving you the biggest thing to shoot at. You want to get rid of him? Then take what this study says when it comes out and prove him wrong. Go on. Do it. But you won't do that. You won't even try to do that. Why? Because you don't want to have an honest-to-God, straight-up debate based on science and medical facts. You want to have compliance. You want to have, we follow the conventional thinking. Yeah, and conventional thinking used to believe that the sun rotated around the earth. Conventional thinking used to believe that leaching blood out of people took away disease. Until science actually came along and proved both of those theories completely and absolutely wrong. But yet people like Galileo and others were right in the end. All right, let me get to some of your commentary on this. Let me get over here on the YouTube side first. Hang on one second, folks. Let me start with Lana. Laser focused on getting to the root cause of various things. Well, Big Pharma can't stand it. It disrupts their profits. Amen to that. Is breathing fire down backs of every. Oh yeah. When you know what needs to happen, and Bobby Kennedy does this on occasion when he's invited in front of committees. But you know what? Somebody needs to go out if they haven't done it already, and there's probably someone out there who has. Somebody needs to go out and go through the Federal Election Commission financial records for all these politicians and find out how many of them have taken money from pharmaceutical companies and people who work for pharmaceutical companies. Okay? And start tallying, say, oh, and when someone starts criticizing, yeah, weren't you the same guy that took $1.5 million in the past 2 years from Pfizer? Yeah, weren't you the same senator that got $3 million over the course of 5 years from Moderna? You see where I'm getting at? Yeah, let's see. What else we got here? 2 things to consider in autism. One is the diagnosis, and 2, government funding into treating mental illness. I do think Teflon, plastics, and general chemicals are pushing numbers. Could be. And again, let's have that discussion. I've got no problem putting that discussion on the table. Let's do it. Look, we're trying to find ways to save lives, to make people's lives better. Let's just say, for the sake of example, Zippy puts this on the table. Okay, if he's wrong, prove him wrong. But if he's right, let's talk about it. Known about this for a year. Autism families scour for news and research. We are probably more informed than your doctor on the latest info. No doubt about that, because you're living with it. Rhonda says, there's a super interesting Substack article by Megan Bell about this. Let me see if I can share it in chat. It's really long, but it's thorough, and I agree. Okay, do it, girl. Do it. Do it. We'll share it. We'll share the links and share it around. What else have we got here? I'm trying to be fair to everybody's commentary. All right, let me go to Rumble for a second. Hang on, folks. Mr. Scott Awesome says he's going to have to get into the MTHFR gene and how folic acid block the receptors in people with the MTHFR gene. I think it's pronounced Leucorvin. Okay. Any product that says enriched likely has synthetic folic acid. All right. I'm getting very technical over there among the wingnuts. TBA says the medical industry and big pharma cannot have a straight up honest conversation using science because they're liars and poisoners. You ain't wrong there. Where's Third Railify at this point? He's got a good story on giving his autistic kids folinic acid and having good outcomes so far. Oh, I'd like to hear from him this morning. I'd like to hear from that brother this morning. Yeah, he'd be a good one to get into this discussion. I wish he were here this morning because this is right up his alley. Let's see. What else have we got? WWG1 says pretty much every one of them has a handler. TBS says no, they don't want to save lives. They don't make any money if you're healthy. The medical and pharma industries do not make money if we are healthy. You ain't wrong there. You are not wrong at all. One other point to consider as it relates to Bobby Kennedy. And this, you want to know why? You want to know why they're after him? Well, let me point out. Let me put this up on screen just to give you some context, because this ought to be pointed out. In 7 months, okay, his leadership has banned vaccines containing mercury, killed the rollout of 22 new mRNA gene therapy shots, removed all the big pharma operatives from the federal boards governing HHS, FDA, and NIH, shutting down Bill Gates, etc. I got a clip here from Alex Jones. So
RFK Jr. hands down is risking his life, just like his uncle and his father, who were both killed by the very same deep state we face today. Power's been handed down with the very same people. It's only 3 generations. Follow it. From L.L. Lembeser right through Rumsfeld, right through to today. And to go over getting the fluoride out, getting the poison dyes out, going after the more dangerous pesticides and herbicides, getting all the mRNA vaccines in development banned. He was already doing it, and then they snuck around his back. He went and fired them. He just banned all 22 in development. They banned all the different animal ones that are killing the chickens. That already happened months ago. It goes on and on and on. They're getting the high fructose corn syrup out of the school lunch programs. They're getting all the, they are going after everything. It would take hours to go over it all. In fact, there's so much stuff he's doing good, I can't even keep track of it. They're going after the hospitals, killing healthy people for their organs. It's amazing. They banned all the mercury vaccines 3 days ago. That's basically all of them. You can't have that anymore. Directly linked to brain damage, all of it. And now 22. All of the new mRNA shots banned.
Now that was back in July. You're starting to want, there's a question that always gets asked: who is or who are the most effective? The most effective members of Trump's cabinet? I will argue Tulsi Gabbard's one and Bobby Kennedy Jr. is the other. And they're both former Democrats, which ought to say something about the effectiveness of Republicans. You want to know why they're going after Bobby Kennedy Jr.? Because he's too frickin' close over the target. Yeah, and here's that link. Here's that link that Gypsies was being referred to a little bit earlier. I'm trying to see if I can copy that thing. Hang on a second. Okay. Yeah, you want to know why? You want to know why? He's too close. He's too daggone close. He's too much over the target. And they don't want him getting that close. Look, everybody who serves in the cabinet of a president serves with the will and pleasure of that president. But I'll tell you this much. Donald Trump had better not let Bobby Kennedy get away from him. Don't you look. Do I think that Donald Trump watches this live stream? I rather doubt it. But you know what? If he ever does, and if he's watching right now, I'm definitely going to give him this piece of advice. Don't you dare let Bobby Kennedy resign, and don't you dare fire him. Because right now, that man is what the country needs. Like I say, even if he's wrong, at least the things he's doing are causing a discussion to be had. Ideas are being moved forward. And maybe those ideas turn into public policy that makes life better for Americans. We'll see. But don't you dare let him go, and don't you dare get rid of him. You need him right now bad. Same way you need Tulsi and a handful of other people that are around you. Some of them you ought to get rid of. Those two, don't you dare get rid of them. All right. Let us move on to the last compartment of the train, affectionately referred to as HodgePodge stew. Now, if you're watching this live stream and you're asking yourself, what the heck is HodgePodge stew? HodgePodge stew is that collection of stories that together make up items that are important, but maybe they didn't get the most attention during the week. And, some of them are funny, some of them are serious, and some of them are somewhere in between. So that's what we're going to move into now, is the section of the live stream known as HodgePodge stew. Now, I came across something this morning, and it's just, I got to talk about this. Now, as you all know, I've been trumpeting the return of football, either college or pro football, the past couple of weeks. But the national pastime is still being played. And for those of you who are fans of maybe the Brewers or the Dodgers or the Yankees or, whoever, the Blue Jays, whatever team you follow, if your team is at the top of the division, the month of September gets really interesting for you, okay? But even if you're not supporting a team that's in playoff contention right now, baseball is always one of those sports that's fun. It's one of those great American traditions. It's a tradition that parents take their children to. And, I'm 53 years old, but when I go to a baseball park, it doesn't matter if it's to watch my great nephews play baseball, or if it's just me, going to a ballpark somewhere, college, high school, pros, doesn't matter. I'm 53 years old and I'm still a kid at heart. I want to catch a foul ball. I want to catch a home run ball. I want to have somebody toss me a baseball. And for my part, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but for my part, I think it is genuinely cool when a little kid gets a baseball, particularly at a major league ballpark. Okay. Foul ball, home run, whatever. Okay. I think it's just cool. So it's with that in mind that sets up this first story in HodgePodge stew. And it's not even really a story as much as it was something that happened the other night, and it has just gone viral over the internet. Did you guys happen to hear about what took place during I guess it was Friday night, between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Florida Marlins? The Phillies came to town. The Marlins were the home team. And there was a home run that was hit out in left field. Okay. And, that you would kind of expect. And normally, and you guys know if you've ever watched a baseball game, you have all kinds of things take place. And normally when a home run ball is hit, there's a mad scramble. Okay. Now that said, that sets up the clip that you're about to watch. Okay. Now let me do this for you. Okay. Home run ball gets hit to left field. Okay. And as you might expect, there's something of a scramble for it. Now, folks, watch this. Okay, now you see the guy in the red shirt. Now the ball lands. No one catches the ball. Okay, let me back this up. The ball lands out there in left field. Okay, ball lands out in left field, out in the seats. No one catches it per se, but as normal, there's this mad scramble for it. Now this guy right here in the red shirt, he's running toward the ball. He gets the ball. Okay, holds up the ball back, hey, look, I got a baseball. Watch this. So he's walking this thing over and gives it to his son. Okay, uh-oh. Now, here comes the hand. Here comes the hand. Watch this. Now, he doesn't expect this, so he gets a little bit scared. He's like, hey, who's touching me? Now, she's giving him the riot act. He's having a discussion. They're pointing back to where the ball landed. He's saying, hey, that's for my son. She's still giving him the riot act. Okay? He's like, you know what, lady? Here, you want it so bad, take it. All right. All right. I'm not going to lie to you. Hang on one second. Oh, what is this nonsense? Hang on. You got to be kidding me. Really? Really? I cough, and this is what I get for it. Good night. Anyway, sorry about this, folks. So the guy walks back. Oh yeah. Oh, TBA says that was a bitch move in more ways than one. You ain't wrong, brother. You ain't wrong about that. Goes over on a home run ball, right? Goes over on a home run. There we go. Goes over on a home run ball. No one had caught the ball. It's kind of the mad scramble that normally happens. He gets the ball. He's walking back to his son. Drops in the glove. This is a great father-son moment. Then you get Karen right here. Okay? You got this Karen just coming over there, reading this guy the riot act. And finally, the guy takes the ball out of his son's glove, and he's like, look, lady, I am not fighting with you about this. You want it that bad? Here. You want to mess up my son's night? Go ahead. And so allegedly, the father had taken the son to the game for his birthday. The little boy's birthday was the day of this game. Okay. Now here's another angle on it. Somebody had I guess had their iPhone out, unrelated to all this. Okay. Unrelated to all this. And they had the struggle for the baseball from another angle. Okay. Again, check this out. Ball lands. Okay. There's the mad scramble. Here comes the dad. There he is. Again, that ball is fair game. It's in the seats. It's rolling around. Dad happens to come out of there with it. Walks it back. Here comes the Karen. And she's giving him grief. Here we go. Did you hear that? You took it from me. You took it from me. Hey, lady, that ball was fair game. Everybody saw it. But she's like, you took it from me. You took it from me. I'm sorry. Look. Okay. All right. To this lady in the Phillies jersey. Okay. Can you at least have the self-awareness and the selflessness to say, hey, little kid got the baseball. Let him have it. I mean, really? Really? This is the kind of example you want to set in front of a kid? Hey, I got this baseball and you took it from me. You took it from me. Oh, come on, woman. Seriously. You are ruining a perfectly good moment between a father and a son. Well, no, Lana, you're probably right. I should not refer to her as lady. There's nothing ladylike. I agree with you. I agree. TBA over on Rumble says, and the son watched his dad be Karen'd. That's true. I am not going to sit here and make commentary about the father's actions in this. I'll just say he was trying to be a gentleman. And I'll just leave it at that. My beef in this is with this Karen, of a baseball fan over here. Seriously? This game is for kids. Oh, you're absolutely right, dear. Absolutely right. I mean, this game is supposed to be for kids. You had a home run ball hit out to left field. It bounces around in the seats. There's the mad scramble for it. The guy comes out with the ball. He takes it over. He gives it to his son. What should happen at a baseball game? If a father manages to get his hands on a Major League Baseball, you give it to your kid. And if you don't have kids, maybe you give it to somebody else's kid. And if there's no kids around, then you keep it. What does she do? She goes over there. You took it from me. Harangues this poor guy to the point he reaches into his son's glove, takes out the baseball. He's trying to avoid the conflict, and she walks away with her baseball. And fans around her going, "You bitch." Well, fortunately, there's more to this story, and it is good news, if I may borrow a line from the lovely Nina Infinity. Seeing what happened, the folks who work at the stadium for the Florida Marlins did something pretty cool. Okay. And I gotta share this with you because there is some justice in the universe. Let me back this up. Okay. An attendant for the Florida Marlins came over to where this father and son were sitting. Watch this.
So we brought you a cool little goodie bag. You okay? Happy birthday. Isn't that your birthday yet?
Couple days.
Okay.
Couple days.
Okay, his birthday's in a couple of days. The folks who work for the Florida Marlins, I guess, saw what happened. I mean, you got to see this camera guy in the background? Okay. They saw what happened. Brought this kid a whole swag bag of stuff. Okay? And that's pretty cool. Okay? That's pretty cool. But then it gets even better. Okay? Then, yeah. If we're all not crying at this point, we ought to be. That was pretty cool. But then it gets better. Okay? The left fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies is a guy by the name of Harrison Bader. Okay? And I don't know how this got arranged. I don't know if the Marlins staff went to the Philadelphia dugout, or maybe Harrison Bader, the left fielder, saw what happened and made some arrangements on his own. But this happened after the game. Harrison Bader found this kid and went down to meet him. I don't know how this got arranged. Okay. But here's the left fielder, Harrison Bader, talking to the kid. And Harrison Bader gives this kid an autographed baseball bat. Okay? Again, no idea how this got arranged. It could have been the Marlins staff went to Harrison Bader, or Bader saw what happened and reached out to the Marlins staff. I don't know. I don't know what happened or how, but this kid got an autographed baseball bat from the left fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies. And as somebody said online, the Karen may have won the battle, but the kid won the war. And stuff like this, I love. This is cool. Genuinely cool. Oh, I totally agree, Patty. Completely awesome outcome. TBA says, well, the Karen got her stolen baseball. I guess she got hers, LOL. Oh, she got hers in more ways than one. Mr. Scott Awesome says, God is good. Amen, brother. Oh, thank you, Patty. That's very sweet of you, with a super sticker for $4.99. Very nice of you. Thank you very much. You are awesome. That way, everybody's awesome. But thank you for that. It's very kind of you. Mr. Scott Awesome says, "Can we ban the Karen? Are you referring just to that Karen, or are you referring to others? Because trust me, I think we really need to ban that Karen. She got to go. She got to go. I almost forgot. By the way, we found out we got a name for this lady. This lady that robbed the kid of his baseball. We found out who it was. And guys, I don't know how she got down there, but look at the. Oh my gosh! It was Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren was at the Marlins game. What the heck? I had no idea she was a Phillies fan. Can you believe? Well, that kind of explains the whole Karen thing. Elizabeth, for heaven's sake, really? Taking baseballs away from kids? That's worse than stealing lollipops from babies. Elizabeth, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Ought to be ashamed. WWG1 says, no, she's not a Phillies fan. Elizabeth Warren is an Indians fan. Folks, WWG1 is here all week, and don't forget to tip your waitresses. Oh, God, you guys are awful. Woo! Well, I tell you what, you guys are bad, man. You guys are bad. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. All right. What else do we have in the way of HodgePodge do? Trying to squeeze a couple more stories in here. But yeah, I saw all that and I thought I'd bring it to y'all's attention. Yeah, that's just one of those stories that's like, man, there are so many things you can truly say about this whole thing, and it just blows the mind. All right. A little bit of politics. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a strategy has emerged that might help us defeat Zohan Mamdani, the socialist who's running for mayor of New York City. Right now, as you guys are aware, there are 4 different candidates running for office for the mayorship of the Big Apple. Republican Curtis Sliwa. Eric Adams, the current mayor, is running as an independent. The former governor, Andrew Cuomo, who is running as an independent. And the socialist, Zohan Mamdani. Now, the strategy goes like this. If we get one or more of these guys to drop out, all the other opposition will coalesce around the remaining candidate not named Zohan Mamdani. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a piece of bad news the other day. Apparently, someone's not getting the memo because they're not getting out of the race. We have an announcement from Mayor Eric Adams. Check this out.
So I want to be clear with you. Andrew Cuomo is a snake and a liar. I am in this race, and I'm the only one that can beat Mamdani. Andrew has had a career of pushing Black candidates out of races. You've heard me say it over again. Carl McCall, Charlie King.
Okay, I have a 2-word response to Mayor Eric Adams. Mayor Zamdani. Dude, you stay in this race, he's going to win. And to be honest about it, the guy might win anyway, even if 2 of you drop out. Okay? Doesn't matter if it's you and Sliwa or you and Cuomo. He could still wind up winning. But if you truly care about New York City, get the heck out of this race. Seriously? Get out. Oh my word. Big dummy. Big dummy indeed. All right. What else do we have in the way of one more story? No, you know what? I'm gonna save this one for. No, you know what? I better do it now because after Sunday, it's going to be kind of irrelevant. Now, in the course of a political race, it's not unusual for strange things to happen. Okay, not unusual at all. And in some of the more macabre cases, on occasion, you will have a candidate pass away before the election. They're on the ballot, their name is on the ballot, but bless their heart, they're no longer with us. Or as Rush Limbaugh used to say, they are assuming room temperature. It's not unusual per se for that to happen on occasion. It is unusual, on the other hand, when you have it happen 7 times before the next election. I got a story here from Human Events, and this one comes from Germany. Check this out. Statistically impossible. 7 AFD candidates die before local German elections. The deaths mean new ballots must be printed, and some voters who have already cast potential ballots will have to vote again. Article by Roberto Vaquero Cruz. We have the following. Now, this says 6. After this went to print, there was a 7th who passed away. Hans Joachim Kind died of natural causes, the outlet says. 7 candidates for Alternative for Germany, the AFD party, have died in recent weeks before local elections in North Rhine-Westphalia, according to police and party officials. Authorities claim there is no evidence of foul play in their deaths. The deaths mean new ballots must be printed, and some voters who have already cast ballots will have to vote again, reports the BBC. Police told outlet DPA that the cause of deaths were natural or withheld at the request of families. The AFD's North Rhine-Westphalia deputy leader, Kay Gottschalk, gave a message warning against jumping to conclusions, saying, quote, "What I have in front of me, but that's just partial information, doesn't back up these suspicions at the moment," she told Politico's Berlin Playbook podcast that investigation should move forward without immediately getting into conspiracy theory territory, while noting the need to respect grieving families. AFD co-leader Alice Weidel, however, reposted a claim by retired economist Stefan Homburg, suggesting the number of deaths was statistically almost impossible, amplifying speculation online. North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany's most populous state with 18 million residents, is set to hold local elections on September 14th with nearly 20,000 candidates on the ballot. The AFD had been hoping for gains in the industrial Ruhr region, which has seen a sharp job losses in recent years. Yeah. 7 different AFD candidates all pass away within days of the municipal elections. Right. I don't disagree with you, Gypsy. I don't disagree with you at all. WWG1 says, what do they do? All drink out of the same stein? I don't know. Yeah, that's true too. That's true. Yeah, so if you happen to think of it, just keep an eye on your Twitter feeds this weekend, because let's see how the AFD does in their local elections in Germany. Again, these are not national elections, just local, but let's see what happens. You kind of got to wonder. Anyway, all right, let's bring the train into the station. It's 12:30 on Saturday. There's college football to be enjoyed, time with your families, cookouts, or maybe even just raking the leaves. Who knows? Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here this morning for Front Porch Brunch. Again, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, go ahead and do so while you're at it. Hit the bell for notifications and leave a comment in chat. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. I would genuinely appreciate it. We'll be back this Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern for the Tuesday Night Newsroom. And in the meanwhile, you guys have a great weekend. Spend time with your families. Tell everybody you know that you love them, especially if you do. And even if you don't love them, tell them anyway. They need to hear it. And remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, more money." Have a great weekend. Enjoy some football. We'll see you later.